Well, welcome back, my friends, to another rousing rendition of Choir Boys Outdoors. A different rendition for sure. We're going to talk a little bit about what I look for in a knife if I'm making a knife purchase. Now, I've put all kind of stuff out, and for the past couple weeks, I've asked several people, give me 3 things that you look for when purchasing a knife. Now, the answers have been all over the board, all right? We've got anywhere from materials to brand to the ergos to the looks, the aesthetics, the edge retention, the steel, all of that. So I thought what I would do today is just go over a couple things with you, what I look for when purchasing a knife. Now, it's important to say that in 2023, I'm not purchasing any knives. Any spare money is going to go into the channel, and we're trying to grow that way. I'm incredibly blessed, however, one, to have a pretty good collection. Two, I've been getting in a good bit of knives. But even still, there are some factors there. Knives that I would keep, knives that I would give away, knives that I would turn down. But ultimately, what goes into me purchasing a knife? Now, this is me. I'm not telling you what to buy. I can't. Just like nobody's going to tell me what to buy. It's personal preference. The easy thing here would be to say, hey, this is subjective. And that's easy. And that's true. Everybody's different. I wrote down a couple things. And we're going to go over them. I put 2 tiers, okay? The first tier is going to be looks. You've got to be attracted to the knife, right? Let me pick this up real quick. So looks, materials, brand, and ergos. But there's one thing that stands out above everything. And I found it to be true. And one person actually said this, and I realized that he and I were on the same page. And we're going to talk about that in 1 second. Before we do, though, there was a time in this country where 22 veterans a day took their own lives. Stats are everywhere. We talk about that all the time, depending on what article you read and what day it is. That's why here at the channel we focus on the number 0. Anything over 0 is simply unacceptable. And all that means is, vets, we love you. You have a place here. We're back to blue over here. We sport Leo, all to the chagrin of many. And that's okay. People disagree. How do you do that, Scab? Well, I don't break the damn law best I can. Have before, and if I do, I take responsibility for it. And finally, if you are an addict, never quit quitting. So, what's the main thing? The main thing for me is vibes. What does that mean? What kind of feeling do I get when I see the knife? There's been certain knives I've been automatically drawn to. That's kind of what the vibes are. If it's giving off a vibe, what do I mean by that? This Preacher. The D-Bad Preacher. From the first time I saw this thing, I wanted it. I made sure it was strictly a vibe. It had nothing to do with anything else other than a feeling. It's one of my all-time favorites. Now, pair that with Rosewood Handle 5160, and this is the most loved and used Preacher on the planet. It absolutely is. I've had it reprofiled for bushcrafting. But this was something that I seen and instantly I loved. So we're going to break this up a little bit. I'm going to show you some knives that I just vibe with. Then I'm going to show you some knives that I love, but I would have never bought them. What do I mean? I'll tell you in a minute. Let's do the ones I just vibe with. Well, obviously, it's the Randall, the Mark 1-7. Thanks to JR, man, this is awesome. This is my grill knife. Absolutely love it. Always have. I wanted this particular knife since I was 10 years old. It's a grill knife. I can't explain to you why I like it so much. It's just a feeling it gives. I absolutely love it. Couple that with the way it feels in hand. It feels like it was made to fit my hand. It's got silver guard, silver pommel, wood handle. Just an absolutely gorgeous knife. This was a vibe. Now, the other things that I look for in knives are functionality, right? We talk about that a lot on the channel. Function, function, function. I'm going to show you 2 knives. This is my Billy Waugh demo. I absolutely adore this knife. Now, some people said, oh, the detent's weak. Can I just tell you this? And I say this humbly, but I say it honestly. I don't give a shit about detent. I really don't. Some people do, and I understand that, and I respect that. But that has nothing to do with its performance of what I need it to do. So for me, detent's not a thing. And again, I realize it is for some people. This is the Mohawk from Rosecraft Blades. I don't even know what made me try this knife, but I absolutely love it. This is one of the most used knives I have. Now, this is the second one. I snapped the first one after using it day in, day out, cutting everything under the sun. I use this knife pretty much to set up my videos to run my videos, to do all that. All the pre-cutting, I do with the Mohawk. I just love it. Price has nothing to do with it. Now, price does play a part for me, but that's like a second tier, okay? Mohawk's a budget blade. The Billy Wah most certainly was not, but I absolutely love this knife. Some of the reason I love this knife is because of the men behind it. Bill Harzy's one of my favorite designers. I love talking to Mr. Bill. He'll call from time to time on the phone, which is crazy, but he's a good dude. Billy Wah is absolutely one of my heroes and an American legend. That adds to the knife. Robert Young Pelton is a world-class traveler and adventurer. All that factors in for me, right? But that plays into a little bit from the time I first used this knife. I love this knife. Being a knife reviewer too, and I feel like we should put a disclaimer here, that plays a big role in it because I get to hold on to some knives that a lot of times I wouldn't have, right? So I love knives for different reasons, but vibe has to be the most important part. Now, I've showed you a couple that I just vibe with, and we're going to keep talking about that. Let me show you a couple that I would have never bought. Would have never bought the knife, but I love it. This SOG Seal XR. Steve Guru sent me this knife. Brother, I love it. Thank you so much. I wouldn't have bought this knife. It's an SOG. And as bad as I hate to say it, I've never really been intrigued by it until this knife. I absolutely love it. I don't know why. I can't tell you why. I like a clip point. I like the aggressiveness. I like the whole damn thing. I can't put it down. But it's not a knife I would have bought. Now, will I look deeper into SOG? Yes, because of this knife. There's a lot of knives on this table, guys. I couldn't bring out every one. Meg would kill me. She's going to kill me now when she sees the table. But I got to put it up. But some of the things that I've got out are going to represent the entire company. Now, one of the factors in me buying is a brand, okay? On this channel, we don't bash brands. I've got no need to bash a brand. If I don't like it, I just don't have it on the channel. I just don't. No need to trash it. They don't need to hear that from me. One brand, though, I do love is Zero Tolerance. Here are two of my all-time favorites. I love both of these for different reasons. I bought this because I fell in love with it. It's an 0303, and it's a Ken Onion design. It's the biggest one. I absolutely love the blade shape. I love the way it feels. It's a frame lock, and it's a real zero tolerance. Never had it fail on me. That plays in. This is the 0301. My son gave it to me, so it has an added meaning to it. But I love zero tolerance. Y'all see them all the time. So if I run across a zero tolerance, I'm more apt to look twice at it, even if the aesthetic may not catch my eye, the name will. So that plays in. Cold Steel is a brand, and if you followed this channel for any length of time, you know I love Cold Steel. I love the ludicrousness of it. My Espada XL, I love everything about it. I love the aesthetic. I love the grip. I love that they're tough. I love the triad lock. Cold Steel is a brand. Now, is that still true since the sale? That's yet to be determined for me. Again, I don't just jump on bandwagons and do that shit. I try to think for myself, and I encourage you to do that. And that leads me to this point. I do not buy brands based on other people's opinions. Let me rephrase that. I don't not buy brands based on other people's opinions. Nothing against anyone. But I'm grown, I can think for myself. That's why when I tell you guys I'm not the QVC, I'm not trying to influence you. I want to show you the knife work. You make that decision. Where it's made. I'm not here for all that. If I get sent a knife to show you, I'm going to show you if it works. You make the determination from there. I'm not going to tell you what to like, what not to like. I'm going to tell you a brand that's kind of an anomaly with me. And I started off, I never thought much about it, is Spyderco. Now, I have a PM2 somewhere. I don't know where the hell it's at. I never really cared much for Spyderco until I owned that PM2. I started loving them. Now, I didn't love all their designs, but I started loving them, and I love that PM2. And then Scotty over at Big Bore Knife and Gear sent me this, gifted me this Yo Jumbo and S30V. I haven't taken it out of my pocket, right? So now I got the PM2, I got the Yo Jumbo that I love. I carry this knife a lot, a ton, a lot more than people know. The compression lock, I love the fidgetability of it. I love the aggressive look, but it's not really a knife I would have probably went and picked out. Now that I have it, if anything ever happens to that one, I'd replace it. Then Miss Hope sent me, and we had Miss Hope on Blade Talk a few weeks ago, from Freydon Lock. Freydon Lock. Check them out. They're online, Freydon Lock, and they sell knives. It's a huge knife shop in Syracuse. They're awesome. She sent me this Shaman. This is the perfect pocket knife to me. I've got to do a hard use review on it. It's in CPM 15V. I absolutely love it. I love the feel. I love everything about it. This is a knife with the ergos and the looks I would have bought. Rusty Knife Lover has said for a long time, Scab, you got to try a Shaman. I love everything about this knife. The hole doesn't bother me. I know that it has nothing to do with the strength of the knife. Again, it's a compression lock, so I like it. So Spyderco, I've started kind of turning around on. I love them now. Work Tough Gear is a company that I absolutely adore, and it brings this Nomad EDC to mind. This is one of my most carried, most used knives, okay? If not the. This and the Mohawk are the two most used. The designer, Zeke Menacho, the brand, played into this. This is probably one I would not have looked at based on aesthetics. As soon as I got one, as soon as I got it in hand, I fell in love with it. That's it. Now, let me give you a couple. Well, let me give you another one that I love, but I wouldn't have. This Cold Steel 8015. I got one in a trade. It was not a knife I wanted because of this lock. I just didn't think much about it. A week after having it, though, I fell in love with it, right? So there's two sides to this. Factors in buying a knife, right? And I think vibes, it's like sometimes if you see a knife and you just go, dude, I got to have it. And you think about it and you put thought into it. And then once I get that thought, hey, I've got to have it, then other factors factor in, if that makes sense. Looks can be that way. You might see a knife and go, man, I really like the way that looks, but does it A, B, C, and D? Those are things you have to figure out for what you use. Two knives that I want to show you, and I'm going to show you like 3 or 4 that I vibe with, and then 3 or 4 that I had to actually use to love. Just so we're clear, there has to be an attraction for me to that knife. Once there's that attraction, then I start looking at other factors. That's one side of it. There's a whole nother set of things that lead me to keeping the knife, right? Comfort in hand. And we live in a day and age where we can't, there's a lot of places you can't walk in anymore and just pick up a damn knife. So sometimes you have to get that knife in. And then another group of factors factor in. Reliability. I wrote some down, and I apologize for continually looking down, but I wanted to stay on point. Reasons for keeping them. Function, that's huge. Does it work? Does it work like you want it to? Can you sharpen it up? Is the heat treat good? All of those things need to key into keeping a knife, right? Comfort in hand, edge retention. Those are some factors. A company that I saw online and I just wanted to try out because it clicked a lot of boxes for me, one being Razor Sharp. If a company is known for its sharpness, I'm naturally attracted to that. BPS Knives. This is the HK2. I absolutely adore the way the knives look. Plus, they're razor sharp. It drew me in, and their price point is a selling point. Price point a lot of times is not a deal breaker unless, it's just so far out of the spectrum that it's like I can't do that with a clear conscience, But this was the right price point. I like the look of it. It's 1066 carbon. It's wood handles. All of these come razor sharp. So I love it. Now, let me show you 2 knives of the same company with different reasons for liking them. The first one, the thing that drew me to it was this. This is the Devo Knives Growler. I love everything about the damn knife. Everything. Aesthetically, the way it functions, the whole thing. I absolutely adore this knife, right? Was anxious to try it. Glad I got to try it thanks to Brandon Thrasher. Awesome knife. This, I believe, is the Devo Mash. This is not a knife I would have picked. It's just not. It's not really my style. It's not really my thing. However, after using it, it started clicking boxes. If a knife functions very well, like the pinion from Tempest Blades. Casey's designed the pinion. Oh my God, I'm in love with that knife. Maybe not a knife I would have looked at, but after using it, it's like, holy shit, that's on the list. It's the same with the Devo Mash. You know, it didn't check all the boxes, but once I use something and it's like, holy shit, this works really good. It holds an edge, it cuts well, it functions well, it's versatile in hand. I like it. So those are some reasons that I like to buy. Now, tradition is another factor. Now this is a Schrade. This was my grandfather's. Let me actually read it. This is Uncle Henry Schrade, made in the USA. It's sharp as shit. You can tell it's been sharpened 1,000,000 times. My grandfather actually carried this knife. This is tradition. The Buck 110, based on kind of the Buck 110 platform. They're similar. This is a knife I will always have one of. Shout out to Isaac. I can't remember Isaac. It was Isaac the Noob, and he changed his name, but Isaac's an awesome dude. He gave me a Buck 110. I love it. I love this platform. There's nostalgia there. Another Rosecraft blade that I like a lot is this Surgeon's knife. I absolutely adore this knife. Why? It's a slip joint. It's tradition. Jack Wolf knives. I've got to shout them out. Traditional looking knives, superior quality. This Rosecraft. So tradition does play a factor in. Now, not as much as the other factors. But if I see something like this in a price point, then I'm leaning towards getting it. I really am. I love everything about this knife. It's a little Sunday go to meeting knife. I don't want this to be long. I just wanted to go over some factors with you. My own input. This is the Ego Killer. This is one me and Donnie designed, or I put input and Donnie came up with a design. One of my all-time favorite knives. Why? Because I had a say in it, and it's wicked cool looking. This is another vibe knife. I've got to do some more reviews with it. The thing is, guys, there's a lot of knives I want to go back and redo and review, but I got so many knives to do that it's hard to do that. Now, I want to give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want to give you 6 quick examples of knives. I'm going to tell you if I would have bought them, why I love them, why I wouldn't have, what changed my mind, blah, blah, blah. The first one, I would have never bought this knife. I did not like the aesthetic of it at all. I thought it looked weird, and which is unusual for me because it's a Tops knives. I love Tops knives. This is the Prather War Bowie. Now, after having it a couple weeks, I absolutely adore it. But see, this knife, let me tell you what's good about this knife. The knife here, the reason for this knife that I love it so much is the feel in hand. And we're losing that more and more every day with the more and more online shopping. This knife looks totally different online, or it does to me, than it does in hand. I love this damn thing. Shout out to Donnie B all day. There will be a review on this in the near future. Love that. Here's a knife I absolutely love. I have fallen in love with this knife. I haven't cut anything other than paper. If this knife holds up, it's a Survive Knives GSO, I think 5.1. I could be wrong there. I know it's a Survive Knives. If this thing, it's in MagnaCut. If this thing holds up, this is a vibe knife. This is an aesthetic knife. This is everything that I love in a knife. This is materials. I haven't addressed materials much, so let me try to do that now. Do materials play a major role? They're one of the boxes that I'll check. Like this knife, the shape, the aesthetics, the size, the sharpness, everything about this knife vibes with me. If it was in any other steel, it's still going to be there. I don't look and go, ooh, I need a knife in MagnaCut. However, if there's a knife in AEB-L, for instance, this knife, this is the Cat Panion, designed by Bobby Shue, made by Encore Knives. It's in AEB-L. I got a couple knives in AEB-L. I absolutely adore that steel. That is a factor in me purchasing. The steel there. Otherwise, I can't think of anything else that would be like, damn, I got to have that. This steel I love. But I also love the shape, the ergos. I love everything about this knife. The designer. Guys, designers do. I got a lot of friends that design knives now. Yes, that factors in. It has to. A knife, Carnivora. I do a lot with Carnivora. I enjoy doing a lot with Carnivora. Carnivora Tools is a design house. They sell these. Shade Indonesia is the maker. I know that can be confusing, but I love, now Shaney's work I love. I love the function. I love the sharpness. I love that Shaney does quality. This is a knife, however, that if I seen it, now it's not one I would have thought to pick up. It's the Aisha. What made me love it? This is one of the best performing knives I've had on the channel. From a chopper, now it is in 5160 steel, white micarta. It's got a lot of heft. One of the best choppers for a knife this size you'll ever see. Everything you see here, guys, has hard use reviews. And let me go back to the Billy Watt and the Rosecraft and the Mohawk. I have probably 4 to 5 hard use reviews between those two knives. Function matters to me. And again, this isn't a video to knock why you like a knife. Kev, the Diva D10, it just doesn't factor into my daily. As my knife collecting grows, it probably will. Now, real quick, Big J's Knives and Brothers of the Knives, Salty Red Corn. Those are 2 channels that I want to get to 1,000 subscribers, okay? I love both channels for different reasons. But Brothers of the Knives, Salty, and Big J's Knives. Big J, check those guys out. I just thought about that while I was yakking. I want to get those names out there. The Aisha, after using it, it's here. I love it. I use it a lot. I adore it. This is a knife that's a vibe knife, and we're going to move on pretty quickly. The Dragoth. I've got tons of shorts, tons of hard use videos. Something about this damn knife I just like, okay? It's a vibe thing. I get good feelings from it as soon as I saw it, much like the Preacher. Wanted it, had to have it. Absolutely love the performance. Phenomenal knife. This is my Grail folder, the Spartan Harsey folder. I love everything about the damn thing. This was a Grail knife. Thank you again to Brandon Thrasher. I love the performance. I love the look. I love the brand. I love the materials. I love the way it's held up. So those are some thoughts. Now I want to introduce you to a company that I'm going to start the review on in the morning. This, hands down, fell in love with this sumbitch from the time I saw it. This is the Phobos, for operators by operators, okay? We're going to have Eric from Phobos Knives on our Blade Talk Wednesday night. Now, guys, real quick, we've had 2 Blade Talks this past week. One was with Jared from Neves Knives. We went for a couple hours, could have went a couple more, talked about buying knives, what goes into it. Check that Blade Talk out. And then, of course, Wednesday night, that was Tuesday night. Wednesday night, we had Ernie Emerson. Where's my Emerson? I've got an Emerson. Here it is, my CQC7. Y'all know I love this knife. I've got my Vindicator in there. I've got my CQC8. Emerson is a brand that I love because they're reliable. They're tanks. This is another vibe one. Just about any Emerson I adore. I love the reliability. I wanted to get that in there. Check out that Blade Talk. Ernie stayed with us for 2 hours. It was incredible. The guy was a phenomenal, awesome guy, just like Jared, and 2 really knowledgeable guys. This Wednesday, we're going to have Eric from Phobos Knives. Now, Phobos stands for operators by operators. You see the leather sheath. This is the Tier 1 BC in MagnaCut. This is a vibe knife. I'm just telling you. It started, my love with Phobos started off with the Alaris. I just love the way the thing feels in hand. I'm going to start on this review tomorrow. Now, guys, I got 3 or 4 reviews I've got to get out tomorrow. Spend some time with Megatron. Try to get a Patreon video out. Yes, I do have a Patreon and YouTube memberships. We call it The Choir. If you want to help the channel that way, awesome. If you can't, we get it. That's why you don't hear much about it. To everybody who is in it, we've got 20 to 25 members in The Choir. Dude, thank y'all so much. I appreciate you. To everybody who watches these videos, who likes, who comments, all that stuff. I don't ask people to subscribe. You're adults. Now, that being said, this is the Phobos Tier 1-BC in MagnaCut. We're going to have Eric, the owner-operator. He is a vet. He is a disabled vet, disabled in the service. He will be on Blade Talk with us this Wednesday night. That is gorgeous. Vibe knife. 100% vibe knife. The next one, and we're going to wrap it up with this. This is one I could go on and on about, but I don't want to. I don't want to tie you up, okay? This is the Kakula. Kakula. I mispronounced the shit out of it. I'm sure it annoys them. But this one is in, let me read, because I don't, if you don't know much about Phobos, Phobos, please look them up. They give you some phenomenal information. Let me show you this knife. I don't want to get the steel wrong. They give you the steel, the recommended primary and secondary edge bevels. They give you the Rockwell hardness. This is all the info they send you. They lay it out there. I respect the shit out of that. Now, this is in CPM S35VN. It is in a 60 HRC. This is, like I said, this is for operators by operators. This is a self-defense tactical knife. The Tier 1 is actually their bushcraft knife. This thing is to die for. Again, you know what it tells me, like with a company like Phobos, American made, American service owned, it tells me that just about everything they do, I'm going to love. I love the packaging. I love the leather sheath. I love that they send you some of this wicked wax. I love the stickers. So hard use reviews on these. Now you can see these leather sheaths, which I adore, haven't even been broken in yet. So we're going to do some hard use reviews and we're going to get these things going. This thing, the Kakula, I'm trying to make sure I say it right, gorgeous knife. Guys, look, I'm sure I left something out, but let me recap real quick and then we'll call it a night. When purchasing a knife, or keeping it in my collection, vibes is my biggest thing. And let me just say this, shout out to Advanced Knife Bro, because I asked a lot of you guys, and to everybody who gave me an answer, thank you. But I asked Mark, Advanced Knife Bro, I said, man, give me three. He said, brother, I can't give you three things. He said, I can tell you at this stage, it's vibes. And I thought, you know what? That's me. That's me 100% all day. So for me, it's vibes, and then it's materials, and then is price a factor? Well, it has to be if we're being realistic, but it's not a first tier. If I get that feeling like, holy shit, or if I use a knife, and that's why, and I want to hit on this point real quick. That's why I always advocate using your stuff. I understand there are certain knives. Here's a knife right here that unless it's just an extreme, it won't get used. So don't think I'm against you if you're a collector or anything like that. If you buy a knife to use it. Get the feel of it. Like I said, there's a couple of these knives I would have never given a second thought until I used them. I think that's one of the biggest things you can do. Now, if you are a collector, then obviously you know what you're doing, and most of you guys know what you like. I just wanted to do a quick video, and it's not been quick, but I wanted to do a video and just share with you some things I look for. The vibes have to be there, but then it has to be able to perform. That's why I love the Mohawk and the Billy Wah so much, right? That's just it. Last thing. Tagged out. I think that's what this is called. This is a Benchmade that Rusty Knife Lover sent to me to check out. I don't do a lot of Benchmades. Nothing against Benchmade. I'm not one of those guys. I just hadn't had a lot of them on the channel. And I think this is called the Tagged Out. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you it's in CPM 154. I'm kind of digging it. I love the clip point. I love the basicness. It looks like a knife. It's got, and I don't want to call this the wrong lock, but the button lock, pretty easy to open, feels light in hand. We're going to put it to test and see. Listen, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I love you. God bless you. Have a great day. I'm Scab. You're not. I'm going to go eat some supper, son. Y'all have a good one. We'll catch you on the flip. May the good Lord take a liking to you. If I don't see you again over here, I'll see you over there. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen.